Hey.
Hey, welcome to the Gnostic Deluge once again. We're back after a little hiatus.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but
Uh,
I love New York. Just got back.
yeah.
So,
You're on TV, weren't you?
oh yeah, you guys probably saw me on the Today Show. So look for that episode. What was it? The 8th of October or 7th of October?
Yes. If you want to see Mark on
In the
TV.
audience, I'm in the background behind these PAs. Anyway, so let's get on to it. So today we wanted to push ahead with more of Enoch. And,
Yeah, but not so. A little bit of Enoch,
yeah,
really.
actually.
So the Book of Enoch. The books. This is in the Book of Enoch, but we're not going to talk about Enoch too much, right?
Yeah, because we're talking about the Noah fragments.
Yeah,
Noachic fragments.
How do you think you would pronounce Noachic?
Like that? You just did.
Oh,
Noachic.
there's no like guttural in there, like
Noachic.
Noachic. No.
Yeah, if you're.
I'm not going to try. It's embarrassing to try.
No. Like no hallelujah. No, so there's for some reason, I don't know if you looked into this or read about it, about the like, and actually I think you might have said something about it before, that it was possibly that the Noah book was older than the Enoch book.
Oh yeah, it wasn't. I might have said something about that, but
I don't know if that was.
I think we might have. I think we read that in the introduction to the Enoch texts.
Oh, okay.
It might have been in Charles's.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying if you read somewhere, because it's like,
Yeah.
well, one of the things a lot of times they would do, and this is kind of because we're in another episode we're going to talk about the Book of Jasher, is that they would attribute books recently written books or more to old patriarchs.
Oh, that was super
like
standard, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Book of Enoch dates back to 200, you know, or 300 BC or BCE or whatever. And so, but they attributed it to him, and it could have possibly been all the way from Enoch, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like an example of the Book of Jasher, it's actually, they just named it the Book of Jasher. It was actually the Book of the Just Man was the actual name of it, or the Book of something else. And then they said, hey, this is because there's, in the Old Testament, they mentioned, oh, this is written in the Book of Jasher. And so they put it on, they gave it that title because they're like, look, this will get more
hits,
yeah. Basically, it's kind of like clickbait.
Yeah.
So they would, that's true. Yeah. It's basically like, hey, oh wait, this is Enoch. Remember, it talks about Enoch. It mentions him, that he was taken up to heaven without tasting death, and so we're going to attribute this book to him.
Yeah. So there's a few different ways to look at it. There's that way where people are using the name just for recognition and like for instant sales.
Yeah.
Or they have their book or their text circulated.
Yeah.
Better. But then there's also, obviously, there's the other approach, and it's probably a combination of all these actually, but of some of these these stories and these traditions were thought to originally come from a source like Enoch, right?
Yeah.
But because they didn't have the actual text anymore, they kind of just like, it was kind of a word of mouth thing, and a lot of texts are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of texts that we have today that have nothing to do with what we are going over even originally were word of mouth. So yeah, there's a combination of a lot of things, but whether this is actually written 4,000 or 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, it doesn't no one can ever prove that. But I guess the point is that these stories were they were the Noah stories. What your point was?
Oh yeah, we kind of went up.
Is the Noah texts, the Noah fragments appear to come from an earlier source, like textual criticism and stuff shows that these sources are of an earlier origin than the Enoch sources.
Yeah, that was so. Anyway, it's just interesting that there's like a book within the book.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, these ones that have been preserved. So, anyway, we wanted to go over those today because I mean, this is the Gnostic Deluge too.
Yeah.
So we're preparing for the flood.
Yeah, that's what that's like the climax right there.
Well, wait. So that means this podcast is almost done. We're just gonna keep skipping the flood. You know, it's like the permanent cliffhanger.
Like we'll never get.
Like, when are they gonna get to the freaking flood?
We'll get there
talk
someday.
about them talking about the flood, prophesying about the
Yeah.
flood. So anyway, the interesting thing in the book of Enoch, or the Noachic Fragments of Enoch, is Noah, like his birth. Hey, I'm getting a little parched though.
Are you? You notice me take a drink just now?
Oh man. Yeah, I need a ginger beer.
All right.
What do you got?
We got
in
goslings.
the bucket?
We got goslings and we got fever trees.
I'm gonna try the fever tree because you've been talking those out.
Have you never had a fever tree before?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Let it be known. This is the what's it called? What's it called?
Enoch,
what's the YouTube phenomenon right now of reaction? This is gonna be a reaction.
Oh yeah, I'll be like, okay.
Here's a reaction to the
I love
fever
it.
trees.
I've seen those videos where the people are listening. A kid listens to Led Zeppelin, Black Dog for the first time, or whatever, you know, and they're like, okay.
So these are
all right. Fever Tree Premium Ginger Beer.
These are pretty strong.
Good. I need something to put hair on my chest, or put hair on my head.
Get it?
All right, here. Well, let's see. Ooh, I got a fever. Oh, those are good.
Yeah.
So,
I can't put it in front of the camera.
Oh yeah. Okay. It is like one of those reaction videos because all of a sudden it, like, you get the burn a little bit later.
Yeah.
I wonder how they do that. Is that just ginger? I mean.
Whoa. That's good.
Oh yeah. Fever Tree.
What I like about the fever trees is the glass. They do this cool tree.
Yeah.
On the glass.
Maybe they can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have autofocus on? Remember? Remember, you know how it does that thing?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay, because hopefully this isn't like bugging you out. Because anyway, we figured out a few things. I think as we've been doing this, but I don't know if we. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. So there's this cool tree that almost looks like a menorah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know, I wonder one.
It does. Yeah.
9.
But it makes you kind of feel special when you're drinking it.
Yeah, it's got this raised.
Yeah, think that the company that bottles these, or Fever Tree, to think that they actually took the time to get this cool relief, this glass relief of this tree that resembles like a tree of life or something.
Yeah,
I feel
it's very actually it's really cool.
Yeah, I feel really good in many ways.
Tanya's always talked about getting like a tattoo of a tree for some reason, and this would be a cool tree.
Like Yggdrasil.
What's a Yggdrasil?
Like the tree, like the world tree. Yggdrasil, you know, it's the Norse Ygdrassil.
Is it just common knowledge? Oh yeah, the Yggdrasil. Oh yeah. No. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is a cool tree. Like actually that would be a.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so anyways, that was your bonus ginger beer.
Okay, reaction. So if you like a good spicy ginger beer, this is the one. It's good, and
it keeps you for a while, doesn't it? Like
yeah. I can feel it, and so this. I mean, Fever Tree. You can become a sponsor of ours because we got a fever for Fever Tree ginger beer. Yeah. So anyway. So there's an interesting. So Noah was the son of. Wait, let's just make sure.
Lamech. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Lamech and his wife became pregnant.
Oh really?
Just became pregnant. It wasn't miraculous.
I love it how it was actually wasn't it Methuselah who like, okay, you need to become pregnant now? The way it's worded.
Well, it says after some days, my son Methuselah. Oh, this is Enoch, right? My son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech. Yeah. So, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. So she became pregnant by who? No, it's not totally clear.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So Methuselah chose his son or his wife, a wife for his son, and she becomes pregnant. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. Do you want to?
Sure.
What happens in verse 2? Like it's really weird.
So here's the whole reason why.
And this might be something. Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna drink some ginger beer.
Yeah, go for it. And his body. So this is pregnant by him and bore him a son, and his body was white as snow, and red as the blooming of a rose, and the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes were beautiful.
And
when he opened his eyes, oh, this is the best part right here. Right?
Yeah. It's like,
and
what?
when he opened his eyes, he lighted up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright.
Yeah, and thereupon he rose in his hands to the midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. So, and yeah, so okay, there's this weird baby that's born. Like, okay, so what are some of the things that his body is white as snow and red as a blooming red rose? So he's like albino, I guess.
What did it say was red? His
No, just his skin, his body is white as snow and red as the blooming of a rose. So he's like this. You see a white like an albino. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just this freakish white reddish color.
Yeah,
like almost like a. Well, I don't know what it's like. They're trying to explain it, but
yeah, you have to decipher. You have to choose whether this is like a total embellishment, which I think most people would say that. I think we would both say this is an embellishment. But is there any accuracy to like that legend though?
Well, I'm saying he almost sounds like but it's saying, and his hair is white as wool. And his eyes beautiful, like an albino person. Like they have this really light hair, and then it talks about his eyes too. They can have those blue eyes,
and all of that,
and it's the skin. I'm just saying this is what it sounds like to me. I don't know.
Totally. And so if somebody were to tell me that Noah was albino, I would say that's interesting.
I'd say albino.
Wow.
Is he albino?
There's another bonus for you right there. But albino. So I mean, I would believe it. I would say, "Huh, cool, that's really interesting." But and then if they continued and they said, "Oh, and when he opened his eyes, like rays of light shot out."
Yeah. Well, that's where the embellishment seems to come. Like I mean, where it's like maybe his eyes. Some people like their eyes.
Yeah,
can kind of light up the room,
like mine,
like you, like look into Brandon's eyes. You'll feel that, but I mean, they go so far as to say that. Are you looking into the camera? People are like, dude, you're freaking me out. But it just lit up the room. Like when somebody walks in, they light up the room, kind of thing.
Yeah, Mark.
I don't know if, and that I guess I see what you're saying with the. Is this not an analogy, but what is that called? Anyway, neither of us are English teachers, so but it's one of those things where it's like even whenever they're explaining the white, all this stuff, is it just?
I know what you mean. I know what you're trying to say. I know which word you're
looking for,
but we suck.
I think it starts with an A or something.
Our vocabulary sucks.
An onomatopoeia.
So the thing is like. So the white or the light shooting out of his eyes and lighting the house, and then him speaking at birth.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not trying to be a critic, But
Well,
I guess no,
it's just like, okay,
I'm not gonna be a critic, but yeah, that's an embellishment.
Well, okay, I mean, yeah. So
but when you embellish
thinking,
one place, how do you? And when you embellish on one place, I mean, what are the odds that you're not embellishing somewhere else?
I mean,
too?
I think the main thing though is that they're trying to say there's something special about this kid.
This kid was special.
And so there may be some of the things that maybe he was a albino. They're like, what the heck? This is weird.
Hey, so write this down. When we write our version of Noah,
I thought you actually wanted me.
you don't. I don't think you need to write down because you have a good memory. When we write our version, the Gnostic Deluge version of Noah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say and he was like a really cool looking kid.
He was so cool.
Or like he was obviously had a, can I use the word luster?
Mm-hmm.
He had like a countenance, a brightness in his countenance.
Yeah, that's what there seemed to.
Yeah.
I mean, but there may have been something odd about his looks too, but then and something about his personality or the whatever personality baby has, or something that's like there's something special about this kid. But in verse 4, Lamech freaks out and he runs out of the house. Yeah. So he's like, okay, so it says Lamech was afraid of him and fled and came to his father Methuselah, and then he says, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of heaven. Yeah, the sons of the God of heaven, and his nature is different.
Yeah.
And he is not like us, and his eyes are as the ray of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. So and this is where.
So who was this woman that Methuselah got for Lamech, huh?
Well, yeah, and he kind of asks the question, it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. So he's kind of like, I don't even think this is my kid. Yeah. It's kind of like your wife has a baby and all of a sudden it's noticeably a different race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, if it was a non-Caucasian baby.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah. I would be
wait a second.
I'd be like, yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically he in their way they're saying, I don't think this is my kid. I think she slept with the angels because remember back in the Enoch thing.
Yep. Or Adam and Eve.
Oh yeah, the book of Adam and Eve.
And everything we've discussed
and
so
Enoch,
far.
yeah, that there was either the sons of God that came down from the mountain or angels as kind of talks about in Enoch that came down and they come down and mate with the son or the women of men,
humans,
sons of men.
Yeah.
Wait, no, not the sons of men.
Sons
women.
Of men. Daughters
Human
of
women.
Men.
Daughters of man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Daughters of men.
Yeah. So and then they begot these giants, and they look different.
The Nephilim.
Yeah, the fallen. Well, the Nephilim are the fallen ones, are the angels, right? I thought.
Yeah, that's what Nephal means. It's a fall, but I think they're also speaking of embellishments. It's common to say that they're giants too, right? But yeah, they're the
great men of great renown.
Yeah,
maybe albinos too. Who knows?
With long locks.
Well, I'm saying so. He's like, he looks different.
Yeah.
I don't think this is my kid. So he's kind of.
I haven't thought about that before. Like I didn't. I knew that he flipped out.
Yeah.
But I didn't. From what you're getting at, you're saying that he thought it might have been like that. His son was actually a Nephilim.
That's what it actually says. It says it seems.
I just.
He is not sprung from me, but from the angels.
The whole thing then, because I didn't know that.
And I fear that in his day, I wonder. So he says, I fear that he's not my kid. And also that son, because of he's so interesting, or it seems like such a wonder that there's something going to happen in the earth. And then he says, go and petition Enoch to find out, to learn the truth. And let's see, invert. So
13. We'll go 13.
So Methuselah, go to 13. Goes to Enoch, and then he reveals to him.
It says, "And I, Enoch, answered and said unto him, The Lord will do a new thing on the earth, and this I have already seen in a vision, and make known to thee that in the generation of my father Jared, some of the angels of heaven transgressed the word of the Lord. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have united themselves with women and commit sin with them, and have married some of them." Give me the wrong verse or what?
Dang it, dude! I set you up. No. Okay, the Lord, but we're
17.
Oh, okay.
And they shall produce. Wait, no. What are you looking for?
Well, I was gonna say where he reveals to him. Maybe it's a little later.
Oh,
now
it's 18. It's 18.
Okay, go ahead.
And now, so this is what I meant to read. That was embarrassing, Mark. Okay, this is what I meant to read. That was useful information, though, right?
That is actually.
Like
let's talk about that.
We've already talked about.
Well, but yeah, this goes over this stuff. But yeah, this is okay. Wait, some married and begotten children by them. Oh yeah, this is what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
United them. See, so this is where it talks about angels of heaven have transgressed the word of the Lord, and behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have united themselves with women and commit sins with them, and have married some of them, and have begotten children by them. So there's a recap,
that's our recap.
So that's what Lamech fears, and in verse 18, his fears are assuaged.
No.
Turn aside.
Relieved. There we go. And now our vocabulary sucks today. Sorry about that. And now make known to thy son Lamech that he who has been born is in truth his son, and call his name Noah, for he shall be left to you, and he and his sons shall be saved from the destruction which shall come upon the earth on account of all the sin and all the unrighteousness which shall be consummated on the earth in his days.
Okay, and and then at the end of that verse they mention, I have read them in the heavenly tablets, or some kind of writing,
like that reference right there.
The mysteries. But Lamech's fears are
subsided,
hey, this is like God's DNA test, or paternity test.
Enoch told me.
He's like, hey, this is your kid, but God made him this way because there's going to be something great on the earth, and he says that then I skipped it, but there's going to be a big judgment come upon him. Do they mention the flood in here? Oh yeah. Yea, there shall come a great destruction over the whole earth, and there shall be a deluge.
Does it say that?
A great destruction for 1 year, in verse 15.
Oh yeah.
So they, and that's interesting too, is that in here it doesn't say 40 days and 40 nights. It said a great destruction for a year. It makes it longer at least. But so anyway, okay, so I forgot to mention we started in 106 and 107 because I thought we'd start with the birth of Noah in the Noachic Fragments, just because it kind of...
Yeah, so real quick, we mentioned this in the previous episode, but the book of Enoch is kind of like, there's different pieces here and there that came from the book of Noah. That's why we refer to them as the Noachic Fragments. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they're not all together. Like some of them are in the beginning, some of them are in the middle, and then these ones are actually in the very end. So
but I just wanted to start with his birth, just because it's this weird thing you never hear about.
That was an epic start.
Do you see that? Is that in the Old Testament? No.
Omega to Alpha. Start at the end.
Alpha to Beta. Wait, that's only A to B. Wait, what's the last letter in that Greek?
Omega.
Oh, you're going.
Get
Oh,
it?
I see what you did there. Okay, so let's go to so more about the flood in chapter 10.
Okay. We'll see now about the beginning, right?
Yeah, to the Alpha,
Get it? All right.
if we can find 10. This is like there's an interesting. Oh wait, maybe that was what is this human angel race? Oh, this is interesting because remember we talked about the human angel race in the last thing where some of them had transgressed. This is part where by the way, I needed to point out in the episode, one of the previous episodes, I for some reason I said 12,500 feet. The Empire State Building, it's only 1,250 feet, and I have it written here. But when I listened to it, I noticed, and I was like, "Duh, I sound like such an idiot." Because then you're like, "Oh, so the Giants were a third of the Empire State Building," and I was like, "No, they were taller, But anyway, so
got it.
Anyway,
thank you for mentioning that blunder.
Yeah. Now
it would be wrong to like mislead people.
No, I just don't. Somebody's gonna call me out on it.
Yep.
But okay, so what is it? 10.
I'm sure someone's already called you out. We haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so oh, this is I think this is Enoch. I love this. In verse 9 says, "And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and reprobates, and against the children of fornication, to destroy the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle for length of days, so they have not have."
Yeah, it's kind of mean, right?
I like proceed against the bastards. I just like, whenever you can say that word.
Yeah, when you can legitimately
like,
say it.
You can, like
how often does that happen?
Not often enough.
No, it's not.
But okay, so anyway, so this is showing how. See, this is interesting because it says here that for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each of them will live 500 years. I'm like, 500 years. Usual people were living 1,000 years.
Yeah, and this is referring to the Watchers, right?
Yeah.
I
was like, so they have a shortened life for some reason. I was like, well maybe it's because they're so big. They don't live as long.
I think one of the takes that I took from one of the things that I thought about that when I was reading that in the book of Genesis, it mentions this. This whole thing takes place in the book of Genesis within like a few verses, right? But one of the things that it mentions was the how does it work? How does it work? The sons of God and the daughters of men.
Yeah.
Mixed.
Yeah.
And it actually gives a warning on how, and it will basically, and they will have the days of their life will be numbered. Like they're gonna like, so you have like this. Let's say that you have this race of like these superhumans or like these. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This higher race.
Yeah.
And they go and mix with like another type of human, like another type of older race.
Mm-hmm.
And they mix. You're basically getting a half and half of their genetic.
Yeah.
And so if you're averaging 1,000-year life, but then
they might be limited.
But then you go and you mate. You basically mate with a different race that only lives like 50 to 80 years.
Oh, okay.
It's
going to really cut down on that.
Yeah. That was my non-scientific view, by the way.
Well, and if these guys are albino, these giants,
if they had those like locks of hair, like
I'm just saying, they got to stay away from the sun.
Yeah, it's
not easy.
No,
but nothing. We're not speaking out against albino.
I heard that our number one viewers of Enoch.
He's just like, okay,
We just got
unsubscribing.
unsubscribed. We just got unsubscribed by our albino
Why
viewer.
is it? Because I wrote that.
So what's your...
Okay, so what? Oh, my point with this, they're talking about the flood and stuff. In verse 15 of chapter 10, it says, "And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind." The big thing with the flood was to destroy the race of the watchers off of the face of the earth.
Yeah.
That none would survive. It wasn't necessarily to destroy mankind because they wanted to preserve mankind. God wanted the watchers to be destroyed off the face of the earth. He makes it really explicit.
No, I actually like this explanation. It's a lot. This is more palatable to me.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you can. No,
this explanation of the flood is more palatable to me. It makes more sense to me than and every living thing on the entire planet was destroyed.
Yeah, this is more like God has a thing. The watchers, or the children of the watchers, this race of men that is just utterly destroying the world. He's basically, it's genocide or whatever you call it nowadays. So he's specifically targeting the watchers because of what they've done to mankind.
Yeah, and so this allows the more. So a lot of people have a problem with, including myself. Okay, I'm just gonna admit it right now. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it think that I'm talking about other people, like including me, have a problem believing in a flood that literally covers every inch of the earth at one time. Literally.
Yeah. You're like, it's impossible. There's not enough water in the world, basically, and they have a huge big point.
Yeah.
But if there's a specific area.
Yeah, so like if there was like a massive destruction and something happened that caused like large amount of like ice to melt, I can see it covering a big portion of the earth.
Yeah.
Or causing lots of flood damage and destroying a civilization.
Yeah. That was and that seems like more of the point, that it probably did a lot of it. It wasn't just a targeted thing. Obviously, there's a lot of people that were affected by it all over the world. But actually, I was listening to, who's that guy? The Jewish guy. He wrote Josephus. And his story, his Noah.
Oh, you listened to Josephus?
I had listened to his, yeah. He at the end of his flood thing, Noah comes to a mountain. I think it's Ararat or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's people on it. There's people that survived it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and not just Noah. There's people that actually were able to, in his. Yeah. And so that he had gone to a different place, and there's people that survived it other than those, the 3 people, or this, 6 people. Anyway, so it's just interesting that even they weren't saying necessarily, but people always literal. Oh, well, it's written here. This is what it means. Well, yeah, that's like the Cliff Notes, anyway, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good opinion, and I agree with it.
But I mean, because like I said, we have the Book of Enoch here. We have Jasher. We have volumes of the Pseudepigrapha and
the Art of War.
Well, no, they're lost books of the Bible, Eden. There's all these books written, and guess what? They're not all included in the Bible. And there's books that were in the Bible that were taken out. There's books that were referred to, and different
there's
things.
There's a lot to be said about that we don't have the time to go on.
I know. I'm like, anyway. So I'm just saying, there's other things, and that's why we want to explore this, because they're interesting stories. Whether or not they're true, I'm not even saying that these stories are true. I'm saying this is just a different view.
I just want to say, if we forgot to tell you what our point was in the Gnostic Deluge, what it wasn't is, our point is not to be thumping around these texts and to say that these are absolutely true.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were talking about, how people, though, wrote, used the name of Enoch to put on the book sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just they're fun, interesting stories that you don't hear and you don't always get out of, if you just stick to regular text.
Yeah.
Anyway, I kind of went off.
Yeah, you derailed that.
So anyway, in verse 17, then shall all the righteous escape and shall live till they beget thousands of children in all their youth. So like I said, God is using the flood to destroy the watchers, to destroy these children of these angels or whatever they are. There shall be righteous, and then in verse 18, do you want to? I'm talking way too much.
Okay.
Oh wait, maybe not.
Take
18.
a little drink while I take a drink.
Wait.
And prepare yourself for when I.
Oh wait, this might not.
You already said, man.
I know. Like, dang it. Well, maybe it's in 17 that.
Well, you're read 17. So here's 18. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees and full of blessing.
Whoa!
And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vines which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. That's
okay.
Crazy. I'm sure that's where you want me to read, right?
Well, my notes. Okay, I made
10
notes.
presses of oil. That's crazy.
Like 10 freaking presses. Can you believe it? Well, and all the children of men shall become righteous. Anyway, so in my notes, I basically say that the righteous shall survive, and it'll be a new start for the human race of God.
The earth will be tilled, and we'll be able to restart.
Yeah.
Good job, Mark.
Anyway, so that's a new way to look at it. Is that God was out to destroy the watchers because they were so wicked.
Yeah.
And not the children of the watchers, I guess. They were just destroying the earth, consuming everything, And okay, in chapter 54, did you want to talk more about that or?
No, I have a lot to say, but it is going to go off on a tangent.
Hey, I just did, so remember that?
I do remember that.
It was sweet.
Yeah, it was fun.
We lost all our viewership.
Yeah, especially the albino guy.
Wait, L. Hey, no, I was just saying it sounds like an albino, but that's awesome because
Elefino.
That's always a good one. Okay, so how God is going to do the flood 7 and 9. Here, hopefully you read this one, Brandon.
So where am I at?
54.
Oh, L1B.
Here. I know it's that's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna really get on. This is my biggest problem with these lost books of the Bible.
Go for it.
That they translated out of these ancient languages and they have not translated. They can't translate the numerals. Come on, people. It doesn't make it seem more authentic because it's still in Roman numerals.
Yeah,
it makes it harder for us to find our place.
Yeah. When I go to Barnes & Noble, I'm looking for a book that has the Roman numerals replaced with numbers.
Like this book of Jasher I got.
Huh?
Chapter 3. It actually says 3. Yeah. Roman numerals don't make it seem older.
So I'm reading 60 what?
And that goes for football too. Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, they use those.
It's like it's Super Bowl XX. Like people, we just don't know Roman numerals. They were dumb.
Like iPhone X.
Yeah, iPhone.
Okay. What am I reading here?
Oh, just well, this is
7.
Yeah, how God is going to use the flood as a judgment.
Okay. And in those days shall punishment come from the Lord of spirits, and he will open all the chambers of water, which are above the heavens, and of the fountains which are beneath the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And all the waters shall be joined with the waters that which is above the heavens in the masculine. This is the masculine.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, so they're doing they're playing on this imagery here, right?
I don't know.
So the
Oh,
waters
so
which is beneath the earth is
the
the
masculine's
feminine.
coming down.
So the water, yeah, they're like and remember that word we consummated?
Yeah, yeah.
What was that? We read that earlier, right?
Consummated.
Yeah. So basically, the waters above, which are the masculine, and the waters below is the feminine, and they shall destroy all who dwell on the earth, and those who dwell under the ends
The heaven.
of the heaven.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's interesting. The earth, they're talking about the ones from the heaven and also from the ones coming up from the fountains of the earth, because there's the ice age and stuff, but we don't need to talk about that just yet. But it's like there's been this separation between the two. And but what was the whole thing about? Well, actually, maybe that's so. That's how he's going to do it. He's going to use all the waters.
Yeah.
To combine.
This story makes it sound like there was some kind of like separation, and then they were joined together.
Well, sure, and then more. And where is the thing about the Leviathan and?
Yeah, it's 7 and 9.
Chapter 60. Yeah, because there's this weird thing, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. 7 and 9. And on that day were two monsters parted, a female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abyss of the ocean over the fountains of the waters. But the male is Behemoth, who occupied with his breast the waste wilderness, named Duodane.
Yeah, I love that.
But okay, and I besought the other angel that he should show me the might of those monsters, how they were parted on one day and cast, the one into the abyss of the sea and the other. So they were.
I think that has lost us there.
I know. I'm kind of like, oh, well. Anyway, we shouldn't have gone into that.
This text has been so easy to understand so far, and there's been so much. It's been so real. And then we read a verse like this.
Well, I'm saying they brought them together, and what happens is they brought all the waters together, and then after they parted them again. I don't even know. That has nothing to do. Anyway, it's fine. Hey, sometimes we don't know.
Yeah, sometimes we just.
Oh, in chapter 60, things. There's the. Okay.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Like all the time. Okay, this is Noah. Or Enoch is shown is taken before God, and this is interesting. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins gave way.
What does that mean? He heaved?
He pooped his pants.
Oh, I thought that was referring to.
And dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Like he literally. He's brought before the head of days, his throne, and he's just like,
So what's the wording? My loins gave way?
My loins gave way.
I'm going to start using that
Dude, phrase. My loins gave way. Yeah, so anyway. But this is whenever he's shown the vision of the last days and stuff. Well, let's skip to another thing, because this...
yeah, want to go to...
He explains that God. Wait, what God's judgment is to be? 65?
Yeah.
This is interesting. If I can find it. LXV. Right? Whoa, this is big. So Enoch foretells to. Okay, so Noah. Sees that the earth, there's something wrong with the earth, and that destruction is nigh, and he goes to his grandfather Enoch, and said 3 times, hear me, hear me, hear me. To
3 times, huh?
That's what it says specifically.
Hear me, hear me, hear me.
To Enoch, and he says, tell me what it is that is falling out on the earth, that the earth is in such evil plight and shaken, lest perchance I shall perish with it. And thereupon there was a great commotion on the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell on my face. And Enoch my grandfather came and stood by me and said unto me, Why hast thou cried unto me with a bitter cry and weeping? So anyway.
Yeah, why? Why
Well, Enoch goes on to explain about the flood. He said in verse, he talks about the wickedness of the earth.
In verse 6.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, we're talking about the metals and stuff.
The angels.
And a command has gone forth from the presence. You know, it'd be funny if this was if I'm reading the wrong place again.
You're like, no.
And a command has gone forth from the presence of the Lord concerning those who dwell on the earth, that their ruin is accomplished because they have learnt all the secrets of the angels, and all the violence of the Satans, and all their powers, the most secret ones, and all the power of those who practice sorcery, and the power of witchcraft, and the power of those who make molten images for the whole earth.
Okay, you don't have to read this next part.
This
next part's kind of about metals and stuff.
Boring, like silver.
Lead
produced from the dust of the earth.
Yeah, lead and tin are not from the earth. They're actually come out of a fountain. Anyway, some bad science.
If you need to learn some bad science, is that wrong?
Okay, so here, go read 9.
And after that, my grandfather Enoch took hold of me by my hand and raised me up and said unto me, Go, for I have asked the Lord of spirits as touching this commotion on the earth.
Okay.
And he said to me, Because of their unrighteousness, their judgment has been determined upon and shall not be withheld by me forever. Because of the sorceries which they have searched out and learnt, and the earth and those who dwell upon it shall be destroyed, and these they have no place of repentance forever. Wow, power right there.
Yeah.
Because they have shown unto them what is hidden, and they are the damned. For as for thee, my son, the Lord of spirits knows that thou art pure and guiltless of this reproach concerning the secrets.
So basically, is reiterating these guys. They are. I'm going to put a total end to them.
Yeah, because they know things that they're not supposed to know.
Yeah, hidden secrets, or I don't know what those things are.
The thing is like sometimes when they're describing these things that are not supposed to be known, they're referring to like things that we do today pretty easily, like root cutting or like metallurgy, you know. But then I think there's this other like a secret maybe knowledge or this like a secret teaching that they're also referring to. They just don't talk about.
Well, they talk about astronomy or astrology, and different things, the looking of signs and witchcraft, but also mixed, root cuttings and all these things. These, and you could even put an entrail reading or something weird. But also they mix in.
What about bone reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shaking the bones.
Stone throwing.
Yeah, all that. But they also put in murder, rape, theft, abortion, all this.
Bad, man.
Well, no, but they talk about. I mean, even in this, they talk about the women drinking a drink
to abort their kid.
And all the just taking advantage of other people and stuff. So it's all mixed up, and it's not totally clear, what exactly they're referring to with the secrets.
Yeah, maybe like metallurgy is just like sorry, you're gonna have to go to because you came along with all the other bad.
Well, but they even put like writing was one of the things.
That's right.
Oh,
music,
this guy, music and stuff, and it's like stuff that we're like, hey, this, this is actually part of the human experience. Like we've been able to create music, and stuff, but then in here it's actually bad.
Mark, that's a testament of how bad things are right now.
We are living literally in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I mean, you can put on your iPad and listen to the abominable music.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So they mix everything. Everything's mixed up though. Like
it's kind of It's just basically it's all mixed into.
But it's culture. I guess maybe it's culture. That's a way to look at it. It's become mixed in to where the culture of murder, blah 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 blah, is mixed in with
industry and society
with these things. So it's almost like a whole culture of perversion. Whereas you can maybe use some of those things on their own and they're fine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, you can. I would suggest if you're going to be getting into root cutting.
What is root cutting?
I think it has, like making like drugs and stuff, or like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at it. I thought it had to do with witchcraft or something.
Maybe it does. That could be an embarrassing answer I just gave.
No, I wasn't.
But anyways, like that's the thing. That's a joke though, Mark. If you're gonna get into root cutting, get into root cutting. But don't get into like murder too.
Yeah.
Stay
away from the Yeah. So
take a note. Figure out what root cutting means.
Oh.
Since we refer to it so often, we should probably know what it means.
Oh, after he had shown me the angels' punishment were prepared to come, loose all the powers, the waters. And the Lord Spirit. No. I don't know why I'm even reading that. I'm like, okay, so anyway. And God in chapter L67, and in those days the word of God came unto me, and he said unto me, Noah, thy lot has come up before me, a lot without blame, a lot of love,
give it,
and uprightness. That's what he says. A lot of love, but and uprightness. And now the angels are making a wooden, and they put building.
Yeah.
But
there must have been a hard translation there.
Boat, or that we would know it as the ark. And when they have completed the task, I will place my hand upon it and preserve it, and there shall come forth from it the seed of life. So you guys,
the next life, next world.
Yeah. So you guys are going to start over. You're going to be basically new Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Or you're going to continue that race of Adam and Eve that's been perverted somehow. That's the thing. It's almost like it's like I said. He's trying to destroy this certain group of people off the face and start it over. It's interesting. Well, I have flood written here all over the place.
Those Nephilim, man, they messed everything up.
Well, so okay, let's kind of work on getting to the end of this.
Yeah, let's finish. Let's wrap this up.
So a wooden boat. Okay, and this is interesting because in chapter 68, whenever they're talking about, if I can find 68. Gosh dang it, Roman numerals, but.
Oh yeah, this is one where I was like, "Whoa, is that appropriate?"
I don't know about this. Yeah, I think this is so funny.
Weren't we already on 60?
Yeah, we were just right there. Raphael, the power of the Spirit transports and makes me to tremble because of the severity of the judgment of the secrets, the judgment of the angels. Who can endure to serve judgment which has
the severe judgment?
Judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt away. So that's Raphael speaking. He's just like, this is nuts. Are you what? No way. Are you crazy? And Michael's like, come on, man. These guys are bad. So, but it's just interesting. He's kind of like freaking out. Even an angel's like, this seems a little extreme. So
Raphael was he was having a hard time.
Okay, so he's like, whoa, this is really okay, but I just want to let you know I have feelings about this. So and then Enoch's vision of the deluge. If we can find 68. Oh, gosh dang it. Or no, 83.
Yeah.
No wonder I couldn't find it.
That is why.
LXX3. Golly. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is Enoch having a vision. And
Geez, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah.
in verse 3, do you want to read that?
Yeah. I had laid me down in the house of my grandfather Mahalil when I saw in a vision how the heaven collapsed and was borne off and fell to the earth. Excuse me,
Huh?
Excuse me, everybody. I sneezed. And when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in the great abyss, and mountains were suspended on mountains, and hills sank down the hills, and high trees were rent from their stems and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. And thereupon a word fell into my mouth, and I lifted up my voice to cry aloud and said, "The earth is destroyed."
Yeah.
It's like how he and words came into my mouth, and I looked up and said, "And the earth is destroyed."
Yeah. I think this is one of the coolest, like just the
imagery, yeah,
because the vision, the heaven collapsed and was borne off and fell to the earth. So
something came out of the sky.
Yeah, like something is just, and then
what could that be?
And when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in a great abyss. So it's like boom, hitting, and mountains are suspended in air, like just being thrown up. I mean, trees are being like wiped out, just like knocked down.
Well, have you seen like a scientific
rent from their stems? It says
like a scientific like reenactment of what would happen if a comet hit the earth. Like it's kind of imagery is kind of like really profound, because like that's exactly what I have seen like on like artistic renditions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like there was a meteor that crashed over in Russia.
Oh, and trees still don't grow there.
And that was in 18 something, but unfortunately it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's like a circumference of like a mile.
But the trees, yeah, it was huge. Trees were just ripped, like just like this, the same, ripped from their stems. And can you get me a ginger, dude?
A Gosling.
Yes.
Oh, you finished your tall fever tree?
Dude, those fever trees were so good. But so you have this, but this vision is like a meteor, and to me, whenever I read this, and we've already talked about it, but it sounded just like and it could explain like in the ice age,
mm-hmm.
the end of the ice age. There's the Younger Dryas thing that you can read about, where a meteor came down and crashed, and that was what caused the ice to melt so
mm-hmm.
quickly.
Yeah.
So and all these things.
Flood.
Yeah.
large portion.
Yeah, and that actually happened. It was, I think they say is based over here in the Americas.
Yeah, they
you know where it happened, because the ice crust was 2 miles thick and came all the way down, like hit, covered most of the northern United States, all of Canada and stuff.
And at that time, that's the same time period that what they call the megafauna, or the
there was the giant sloth,
the saber-toothed tiger,
the woolly mammoth, like these giant creatures, all went extinct about 11,500 years ago.
Yeah.
Or no, to 9,000. Yeah, there's these big dates, but anyway, this is like the most like possibly scientific, where you're like, wait, this could have really actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. That's one of the reasons I kind of got back into kind of looking at this stuff, because I read Graham Hancock and I was like,
Bless his heart, man. He's a good guy.
Maybe these stories, you know, whether they're true or not, they might have some things that actually have happened. Like the flood is one.
Yeah,
is one thing that you can find in cultures all across the world, and it, you know, and then but people hear it and they're like, okay, that's ridiculous. You know, they hear people that read the Bible and they're like, no, it was a flood. It was it covered the whole earth, and maybe it, what am I saying? That maybe it didn't happen exactly the way that people think, and so it's easy to make fun of, like, oh yeah, there's not even enough water here to cover all the mountains. You can't even, and all that stuff. So that people easily dismiss it, but then there's scientific stuff where it's like that some of this stuff may have actually happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't
know if I said that right, but
you said that perfect, Mark.
Whatever. Go ahead.
That was perfect. Now this is not a reaction. That's a review, because he's already had Gosling.
Well, Goslings are good too.
Yeah.
But that fever tree, it does give you like a tongue fever, like it's like warm.
If you drink too many of those,
you get the fever coming out the other side. Okay,
but anyways, so the thing is, my parallel to what Mark said, which was very profound, by the way.
Whatever.
Stop it, Brandon. I don't have, like, I'm fairly critical, right? Like I don't believe in the flood myth. So is this a Brandon moment? Like, I'm explaining what I believe a little bit.
That's fine.
This is a Brandon moment, by the way. So to cap this, what we've been talking about off, I haven't believed in the flood story for many different reasons. But what's interesting is reading some of these things and then attaching it or kind of connecting it with some actual Earth history, like the Younger Dryas period and the possibilities of a comet impact and stuff like that, actually has kind of like triggered some of my like ability to like, hey, maybe a flood did happen.
Yeah. And
because before I'm like, no, their flood, it's a made up story. But I've always been intrigued by how most cultures, in deep within their histories, or in their lore at least, there's a flood story of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
That's always intrigued me, but I never believed that it actually could happen. But now I'm kind of like leaning. I would say, if you ask me, hey Brandon, do you believe in the flood story?
Hey Brandon.
Yeah, what's up, Mark?
Do you actually believe it?
In the flood?
The flood story? You're like in the flood?
Let me finish what you're
like, wait, how'd you know?
In the flood story?
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Mark, about that is I didn't, and I still don't. But if I do believe that the flood did happen, now, it just wasn't, rather than it being like 4,000 years ago, or rather than being 6,000 years ago, I think it happened closer to maybe 10,000 to 12,000 years ago.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, Brandon. I was wondering.
You're welcome. That brings up a whole new discussion, though, that I don't think we had kind of talk about. But it's basically, well.
Oh, no.
What part of, what are you reading? Oh, okay.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll end with this.
Okay. The thing is if there was a worldwide or almost all worldwide flood,
just a catastrophe.
If there was a world destruction catastrophe that would have taken out massive amount of civilization, if not mostly all of it, I believe that that's very possible, but it didn't. We have to. We don't have an answer for, because a very strictly religious observing Christian or even a Jew or other religious affiliations, they'll be like, well, it has to happen in the Bible timeline because before that, the earth, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
there
it's
is like this period of like, hey, I'll meet you, religious person who believes in the flood. I'll meet with you, kind of like I'll agree that a flood did happen, but
Mhm.
we're gonna have to disagree on when it happened.
But I love the stories, even if they are true, or if they aren't true. Like the
Yeah.
stories, like the Noah, the Enoch, these giants, all this stuff. It's all fun, interesting stories, and there are things that actually are.
Well, why could and let's go to the let's take this to like the the most right extreme and say what would be the most left extreme and say these things all really did happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then what's the problem with believing that we're just off on the timeline?
Yeah.
So
Anyway, yeah. So it's like whenever I read that, I was like, whoa, this is cool because this is like one of those things. Because actually, he in Graham Hancock's second book, or is it third? He has a whole section on Enoch.
Which one?
But he's kind of like
which one it is.
I'll have to look. But,
okay. Magicians. It would be magicians.
Magicians. Yeah. It was magicians.
That's where the Hermetic.
Yeah, it was. I think it was written in the stars. Is the chapter.
Yeah.
But he has a whole section. He's a little bit critical of Enoch in it, and that's kind of like. But he was also talking about the Nephilim.
Yeah.
And all that. And but I was like, dang, how did he miss this part? Like he didn't mention this part in the Book of Enoch. I was like, dude, this is perfect. Anyway, but so we wanted to end. So you heard this one where the what is it? The heaven is rent. Dang it.
Yeah, the heaven falls or
the heaven falls and then something. Anyway, so but we wanted to have another account that's similar to what we just read here by the Ojibwa Native American people.
Ojibwa. Are you gonna have me read this?
Yeah.
Is this the wrong? Are you like leading me down the
sucker?
Wrong? Okay, so here's the Ojibwa tell. It's a tell, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The star with the long, wide tail is going to destroy the world someday when it comes low again. That's the comet called long-tailed heavenly climbing star. It came down here once, thousands of years ago, just like the sun. It had radiation and burning heat in its tail. I'm like looking at this, the comet burned everything to the ground. There wasn't a thing left. Indian people were here before that happened, living on the earth, but things were wrong. A lot of people had abandoned the spiritual path. Interesting.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit warned them a long time before the comet came. Medicine men told everyone to prepare. Things were wrong with nature on the earth. Then that comet went through here. It had a long tail, white tail, and it burned up everything. It flew so low that the tail scorched the earth. The comet made a different world. After that, survival was hard work. The weather was colder than before.
Anyway, so
yeah, colder, right?
Yeah. So you got a comet and you got debris coming and destroy. Anyway, I think that's really interesting though the way they describe it. Things weren't right in the earth. Nature had been perverted. These different things.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That the man, it's almost like exactly like what we're reading here. That things were not right in the earth. There was people who came, and Enoch and Enoch and Noah came and warned them, hey, but they weren't willing to change.
The medicine men, right?
Yeah.
That's a crazy.
It's a very parallel.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna get. Which one is that?
That's the Magicians of the Gods.
Okay.
Anyway, this is his first one. Wait.
No, his.
This is the one with Enoch.
Yeah, Fingerprints is his first.
Fingerprints is his first. Anyway. So, but there, it's just so interesting. Like you got a tradition from a totally different people, native, over here in America, and tradition from the Middle East or whatever, and it's similar story. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No, I love that.
So-
That's why we're
That's why we're doing
we're
this.
doing this totally.
So anyway, we're gonna sign off.
He's gonna sign off with his Gosley.
Mm.
I don't have one with me right now, so I won't sign off.
Dude,
with
I
the
go
Gosling.
for another fever tree.
Man, we got.
I got the fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we didn't get too off topic. I mean, I know
we stayed on topic.
Oh wait. Oh no. Okay, and then Enoch's translators. I forgot him. Anyway, yeah. Let's just. Okay, so that we'll talk about that next time.
The final translation of Enoch.
Yeah, it's not. It's anyway. So we'll sign off with that because that was such a tied it in.
Yeah, we don't want to like deviate from that.
So anyway, we'll be doing another smorgasbord. I think after this. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep reading.
Yep.
Keep looking to the stars.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on that bear.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep Orion's belt tight.
Cinch that. Yeah.
Cinch
cinch
his
that
belt
up.
so his pants don't fall down. All right. We'll see you later.
See it. All right.
Did we record, Brandon?